It's Vernisa, and I'm here to speak up. It's time to speak up. Hello, everyone. My name is Vernisa, and this is my podcast, Speak Up. Hope you guys are all having a great week so far. For those who don't know, the mission statement for this podcast is we'll use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect. So, this is a place for self-love and respect. Welcome, new listeners. I hope you enjoyed the content. Hey, y'all, to my previous listeners, I take a little break, but now I'm back in the game. We here. Happy November. Hope you guys this month is off to a great start as well. Before I get started, quick shout out to my amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Get your nails, your lashes, your hair done. Ask for mine. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at nyy.bar. And also a shout out to my newest sponsor, the Event Wellness LLC. Book now with the Event Wellness LLC for massage therapy, non-invasive body contouring, and health and wellness events. Ask for Michelle. Book now at the Event Wellness. So thank y'all to my amazing sponsors. Tonight's episode is titled Let Go and Want Better. So this is a very interesting topic. I actually thought of this topic. I was actually having a deep talk with my little sister, and I was talking about things that I didn't feel worthy of because of things I've seen in my upbringing. And, sometimes we subconsciously do that. I feel like sometimes we've probably seen our parents go through things, friends or family, or, we had a certain upbringing that sometimes when it comes to our own life and our own future, we kind of don't see a happy ending for us, and I think that's like a strategic mindset you have to know, okay, even though I came from this, and this, I can still create better pages with my life, and yeah, I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting on that, about to be 30 very soon. So, I feel like 29 has been a year of self-reflection, a year of transitions. And that's one thing I actually been reflecting on is like, what do I really want for myself? And I am deserving of, having a happier story than certain things that I've seen, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get a little deep with that tonight. So if you listen out there, please feel free to comment. I read the comments. I love to hear from y'all, hear where y'all mind is. And, let's just have a nice conversation. So it is now time for the Accept segment. So tonight's Accept question of the night is, what's your favorite affirmation for feeling deserving? And mine is, if you're out there listening, please write it. I would love to hear. I'm also going to tweet this as well. But I would say my favorite affirmation for feeling deserving is I am worthy. I actually write that on my whiteboard, where I put my goals at. I like to say that to myself because, we all have moments where we kind of doubt ourselves, we second guess ourselves. And, just that simple reminder of I am worthy, reminds me like, no, like I deserve this too. I deserve things to go good in my favor. So that's something that kind of helps me rewire my mindset when I'm having those moments, those challenging moments when I don't feel, deserving of things going well, if that makes sense. So let's get into the episode. So, let's talk about the problem with holding past trauma. We all have different upbringings, some of us probably had, easier upbringing, harder upbringing, or things that just kind of stuck with us, whether it's good or bad, and, ask yourself, are you holding on to past stuff? I had to do a lot of self-realization where, I would hold back on a lot of things, stay in the safe space, if that makes sense, stay in the safe space to where I didn't have to face certain things or play the safe role from taking risk, things like that. And that really was me, holding on to past things that I had no realization of, and it's crazy how this can manifest into our adult life, things that we were like fearful of as a kid and things like that. I remember like, what's the word I want to use? Feeling safe in my singleness, or feeling like, oh, it's okay, I don't have kids, things like that, which it is okay. But I had to ask myself recently, like, am I wanting to stay single or with no kids because of like a fear of things I've seen growing up or like unhealthy parenting patterns or things like that? Or is it because is that what I really want? And, I remember just having this deep conversation with my baby sister about all those things, we're talking about, reflecting on things we grew up with and stuff. And then like, I remember just having an epiphany, like, it's not a bad thing if I do one day want a family or this and this, but what in the past was stopping me to feel like I don't, or it's okay if I don't, if that makes sense. So, you know, that's one thing definitely, like feeling worthy of things going well. And like it's okay if you actually have a happier thing. This could even go deeper as far as like career. How many of us probably the first of our family to go to college, first of our family to get a certain type of job, make a certain amount of money. Sometimes that imposter syndrome kicks in where it's like, is this real? Am I meant to be doing this? Or, if I seen if you've seen people in your family grow up with less, and you had a certain upbringing, maybe you're in a poverty mindset, it's okay that you're rewiring your brain to come out of that poverty mindset, if that makes sense. We don't have to keep that same statistic or narrative growing up, especially in your adulthood, because I feel like, of course, when we're a child, it's only so much we can control. We're raised in a certain household, things like that. We're not in control fully of our lives, but I feel like as we get into adulthood, there are certain decisions you get to make, things you get to do for yourself. And I think, it's beautiful to utilize that power, and, do what you want to do. It's okay to change the narrative, go the opposite direction of what you've seen growing up. I want to say this too, your parents' mistakes don't have to be yours, certain things, of course, there's effects. None of our parents are perfect. I'm not even on here knocking how we were raised and stuff, but it's like, it's okay if you take what you learned growing up and you create your own pain growing up. Our parents do the best that they can do, to raise us, make us into the people that we are. Now it's our turn, like when the baton is passed to us, to make the best that we can with what was given to us. Whether it is you grew up with or without parents, making the most of what you do have, starting with what you got, I don't know. That's just it. That brings me a peace of mind, and it helps me realize, how much power I do have in certain situations. I feel like it's easy for us to blame this, and this, but it's like, okay, what can you do? How can you change that narrative? How can you really make that change? And I want to say this too. Are you subconsciously blocking good things that you want because of fear? I could go back to like a marriage example, right? Like if you didn't see your parents married, or this, and this, or like there was like say there was chaos when it came to your siblings, you and your siblings didn't grow up together, things like that. Like, are you telling yourself that as you grow up feeling like, okay, just because I've seen this with my family, am I undeserving of having a healthy, stable family dynamic? And it doesn't have to be that way. I think that's something like we have to like remind ourselves, not being in fear of something going wrong because you've seen it go wrong for somebody else. I feel like that's us taking in somebody else's stuff and not making the most for our story, if that makes sense. Are we taking other people's mistakes? We all make mistakes. We all got different lanes. Sometimes people do let us down. We let people down. But are we digging deep within and making a decision based off something that we want to do? Or are we yelling somebody else's fear or outcome of somebody else to stop us? Just good things to ask yourself. I know I'm getting deep on this episode, but it was time for one. I feel like I ain't did like a vulnerable episode like this in a minute. It's your life and it's your decision. We all have different decisions that we're gonna make, and it's like, and we're gonna have mistakes we're gonna make. And I've been learning just to have grace even when things don't go as planned. Like knowing, okay, that was the knowledge that I had in that moment. I made that mistake or that decision. Okay, what am I gonna do now with the outcome? Really meditate on that and ask yourself that. It is now time for the tweet up segment. See, I know I like to be on Twitter or X, but I'm going to keep it as tweet up segment. But tonight's tweet up segment, something that I tweeted this week that goes with tonight's episode, is rewired my mind in so many ways. And this is huge. I feel like I've really been focused on rewiring my mind. A lot of things I normalized growing up that really wasn't the deal, and I think what has helped me is like running, being on a routine, seeing the world. I've been taking more trips lately, seeing different things, and like, I just been in this more happier space where I'm like, life can be great. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom or like, based off certain like things you've seen growing up. Life can get better, never lose hope, always stay optimistic, even when you are in a storm, know that it can get better. And you have to rewire your mindset even when you're going through it, even when like, I'm be real, like, sometimes, when I have like a rough week, I'm just like, I'm so proud of myself how I even like go through the challenge now. I used to kind of like go through the challenge and stay in it. But even if I'm not feeling my best, I'm like, it's okay. I'm not feeling my best. Okay. This is just how I feel at this moment. It's going to get better. But you have to like keep pushing into yourself and rewiring yourself. It's a lot of shit we've normalized. And, sometimes you really have to take notes on like, okay, when am I normalizing that actually can be changed? Just because it's normalized doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's normalized doesn't mean it has to be your destiny, and, you give yourself more power. That's power when you can rewire your mind and normalize the correct things, normalize that happiness in your life. I did an episode, me and Jen actually some time ago talked about this, how when things did turn around for me for the better, it didn't feel normal for me. I felt like I was in a space where like I was like happy and good, but then it was like, okay, well, what's about to happen? I'm too happy right now. And, I've been actually changing that mindset, like normalizing the happiness. It's okay if you had a good week, a good month, a good year. That doesn't mean something bad has to happen, but I think sometimes we've normalized bad things happening, this, and this, that when it is going good, we're so focused on it going left versus just enjoying when it's right. So that's something to put in there, rewire the voices too that don't want you wanting more for yourself. What we tell ourselves is very important. Our minds are always talking to us. We're always talking to ourselves mentally. What are you telling yourself? Even when it is going well, are you like, ooh, it's good right now? Or, ooh, what's the catch? No, like, I've had to rewire that. Like, I deserve this. Yep. It went well. Yep. I knew it was, saying those things to myself, being more gentle with myself when it is going good. Because we say be gentle to ourselves when things are going bad, but also be gentle to yourself when things are going good. Sometimes we could be hard on ourselves when things are going good because we're like so ready for the bad things to happen. So I want to throw that out there as well. It's okay for things to go good and to tell yourself that you're meant to be here in this exact moment when things are actually going well. It is now time for the Life Up segment. So this is the Life Up segment. This is when I take the episode and I relate it to today's world. So tonight's Life Up segment is keeping your past trauma as your identity, attracting trauma bonding friendships, and limiting yourself. So these are really, really big ones and ones I personally resonate with. So like I said, I'm honest on here. I'm not on here acting like, oh, I never done it. No, we're going to get into it today. So feel free to comment if these relate to you as well. But keeping your past trauma as your identity. I can't tell y'all, for so long, I lived in this identity where like I resonated only with the bad things, right, that I grew up with and stuff. And like, I had to really wake up from that. I'm like, okay, you're not in that space anymore. You're not that person anymore. It's okay to push yourself to the other side of that trauma and okay, I went through it, I survived it, and I'm taking that and turning it into power, turning it into using the healing effects of it to inspire others. Let's real, this whole podcast was built off of pain and me and Jen going through healing phases, so it's something powerful about that, I'm doing that. And also let's talk about too, attracting the trauma bonding friendships. This one is big with this example because I feel like, if you definitely want to rewire your mind, you want to feel deserving of better, being in those trauma bonding friendships where that's all you guys talk about, you kind of are just stuck there. The person secretly wants you to stay in those identities, or they're not used to the healed, happy version of you. That could be detrimental to your mental health. I've been guilty of that too, being around certain relationships where people were used to me being a certain way, used to me, being stuck, in the tears, always sad, had something to talk about. And it's like, I had to break from that of like, okay, now I'm in this identity, I'm happy. Who can be around for that? Who actually wants to see me there? Who isn't trying to do things to remind me of who I used to be or like how hurt I was, or who benefited off of me being in those settings, in those lower spaces. Especially when you're really taking the time to really work on yourself, really be a happier person, who could be happy for that? Who wants to see you happy? Who wants to actually pour in your cup now that you are happy versus just kind of fueling that fire, keeping you right there, or just only being there to see you down? Because it doesn't mean those people were bad people, but I think it's hard sometimes for people to comprehend when you have survived what you went through and you're actually now not resonating with that. And I think that's when too, it's time to let go of certain relationships when they can't get past that version of you, if that makes sense. So it's like, that's a huge one. So it's like, I think too, it's good to self-reflect, like, what are you learning from the friendships that you have right now? Are these friendships helping you? Are they actually want to see you get on the other side of the trauma? Or are they just so used to you being in that? And it's like, that's the only reason why you guys bond, because of that. Don't get me wrong, some of those friendships do help you through those times, but sometimes it's when that's when that expiration date of that friendship is over, or a relationship too, even with dating. Some people have significant others that knew them in a certain chapter, and it doesn't work out anymore when that chapter is done. So these are all relationships. This isn't just friendships, romantic, whatever, business wise. Sometimes we're elevating, and it's like, who can be on the road? Who's ready for the turbulence to go up now? Really ask yourself that. And then the other part of our accept is limiting yourself. How many of us have limited ourselves because of past fear, because of things we've seen? We've actually didn't go for the big bag because we're like, I don't know if I'm deserving of that, or let me play it safe. I'm learning to knock that shit out the water. I'm done limiting myself. There's something big. If I want to go big, let's do it. Let's do it. What's holding us back? Ask yourself that. Like, sometimes we have to get out of our own head and get past that. I basically say, how do we fix this? So, rewire your brain, recognize those trauma bonding friendships that you have, and, let go of like having that past trauma as your identity. It is now time for the drink up segment. So if you're listening out there, please pull out some water and drink some water. And I have a drink up water segment for today. Did you know that your nails need water too? If you have brittle nails that easily chip or break, this is a sign that your nails are dehydrated. You need to drink more water on a daily basis. This will improve your nails' growth rate while also fighting appearance of the flaky cuticles, according to myhaircare.com. So y'all know I like to keep my nails done. This is like what I do. But I want to have healthy nails as well. So please drink water, keep your nails healthy, look and fly. Water helps your body in all ways. So I love that we came up with this to set those reminders for everybody to drink water. Now back to the episode. So let's talk about the importance of self-reflection. I feel like the only way to acknowledge, like, if you need to rewire your mind, if you need to let go of trauma bonding friendships, if you're living in a past trauma identity, is self-reflection. Like I said, I had that conversation with my baby sister. That was actually a self-reflect healing conversation. If I didn't have that talk, if I didn't really sit there with myself, I wouldn't have realized like what's really holding me back from certain things in my life. Why do I play it safe sometimes? And that self-reflection is really going to give you the answers that you need. And a lot of it comes to is sitting with yourself. That's really how you get some clarity sometimes. It's hard to get clarity when we're always distracted. We're always around people. We're always in chaos. You don't really know what you really want when you're in that turbulence. When you're finally out of it and you can have a whoosah moment. I think that's when a lot of our answers to our questions come to us. I also too been working on letting go of a codependent mindset of like feeling like I always need somebody's opinion or advice on every single thing. Like, it's okay to seek advice and stuff and talk to people if you need to, but sometimes too, get with yourself and really ask yourself, what do you want? Because sometimes too, I feel like when we're so caught up in what somebody else has to say, we forget kind of what we truly want. Even if it is a mistake you're about to make, sometimes like you have to kind of see what's the ending of that mistake, or like realize, okay, do something, have something snap you back into reality every now and then. And I want to say this too, ask yourself, why don't you feel like you deserve the best? So if you catch yourself like picking the lowest for yourself, not going as hard for yourself, what is making you not want to reach up here? A lot of answers will come to you. And sometimes it is a hard conversation. I've had those hard conversations with myself where it wasn't easy. I had to be real with myself and realize, why am I picking down here when I know I should be up here? And that's the thing to do, and then also too, are you taking in problems and fears of others? So look at your circle, look at what you were growing up with. Are you subconsciously taking in what you saw them go through or mistakes they made? Or is this really how you feel and what you really want for yourself? Sometimes we do that. And your past doesn't have to come to your future. I've been learning the importance of that. Like, even with people we grew up with, environments we've been around, sometimes it ain't gotta go. Like Nipsey said, circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Like, sometimes it just it doesn't have to go with you. And that's okay. Pack light, like Erykah Badu said, pack light. That's beautiful. That's a liberating feeling. It is now time for the Poet Up segment. So y'all know I like to write poetry. It's one of my newest segments I added to the show. And I'm going to share a quote from one of my poems. This quote comes from my poem titled Strength. This life will teach you lessons. It will sometimes send you blessings, but stop dealing with people that treat you less than. So yeah, obviously I was feeling some way when I wrote that poem, and it's true, So it was nice, short and sweet quote. Hope you enjoyed it. And it's now time for the show up segment. The show up segment. So, how did I show up for myself this week? If you're listening out there, please comment. How did you show up for yourself this week? I showed up for myself this week by getting back on track. For y'all that got me on social media, I kind of been taking trips, doing things, kind of like fell out of routine. And I got back in my routine. I felt like I took some time off, and now I'm back pushing myself. Like, okay, time to, you had your fun, but it's time to get back on track. Sometimes too, it's okay to let go of your routine for a second, but also get back on track. Take a little pause and get back up. So I got back in the running, back on here. That's how I showed up for myself this week, and I'm proud of myself for that. It is now time for the wrap-up segment. So how does this relate to self-love? Self-love is loving yourself enough to overcome the past identity, overcome the trauma, get to the other side of the trauma, no longer resonate with that, and work on healthier coping mechanisms when it comes to that. I remember, you guys, be patient with yourself. None of this stuff is easy. We all going through this. Is like a little diary. We're just on here talking and just get into the root of things, but be patient with yourself. Some days are better than others, some days are harder than others, but be patient with yourself through both. And also be real with yourself. The more we lie to ourselves, the longer we actually prolong our healing process, our process to get through. Just be real, be honest. And also remember that you are worthy. So that was like the theme of this episode, being worthy, feeling deserving of a better outcome than what you've seen. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. You can follow me on Instagram at SpeakUpJV, also on Twitter at SpeakUpJV. I'll be back with a new episode. And before I go, quick shout out to my amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Get your nails, your lashes, your hair done. Ask for mine. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at NYY.BAR. And also shout out to the Event Wellness LLC. Booking out with the Event Wellness LLC for massage therapy, non-invasive body contouring, and health and wellness events. Ask for Michelle. Book now at the Event Wellness. I love you guys. Hope you guys all have a great week and a great November. I will see y'all soon. Take care. Bye.